Hello, my name's Nirmanjan, the host of Master of Your Crafts podcast. Learning from leaders who are continuously inspired, passionate, and driven to align with their soul purpose, sharing their gifts to bring healing to others. The music is composed by Rebecca Everett. Today is episode number 83, and I'll be talking to Sandy Joy Weston, a keynote speaker, international podcaster, 3-time published author, and entrepreneur, who has owned and operated health and wellness companies for over 30 years. Early in her career, she became the first female trainer for the Philadelphia Flyers and spent many years as a media personality and as Philadelphia's NBC's 10's fitness expert. She's created the nationally recognized Philly Street Line Dance to help combat Philly's fattest city label. For the past 5 years, Sandy has been focused on SJW Productions, an international company whose main mission is to highlight all the positive in the world. She does this through her international podcasts, her books, Train Your Head and Your Body Will Follow, My 30 Days Reset Journal, and her programs and workshops. Sandy's mission is to spread pure joy and inspire others to see their true power. Hello and welcome to Sandy. How are you, Sandy?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Fun in Philly, fun in Philly.
Fun in Philly, absolutely, yes. I'm curious to learn more about not only your keynote speaking experiences, the number of books that you've published and authored, but really around your experiences around the health and wellness industry, but also geared towards mental health, because I think it's such a big topic, not only because we've come from the pandemic, but before that even, because it was really a thing before. It's just been highlighted more so now, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we're just more aware of it.
Right. How did you get into this space?
So I've owned health clubs for over 30 years. I just sold them in 2019. I had a great opportunity come to me. I did not know about the pandemic, but the timing was great. And my side gig was always SJW Productions, which was keynote speaking, workshops, writing books, and podcast. But when I sold it, it became my main gig. That being said, for a long time, I've always used fitness as my vehicle to spread joy. My mission was always to spread joy. Not that I didn't care about your body and that you didn't get the triceps you wanted, but I cared more about your mental health. You know, I wanted to do anything I could to just bring joy to you, even in that moment. And I saw firsthand with my life how even just a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes of spreading joy, putting a smile on your face, laughing, dancing around, could have a huge impact on your life mentally and physically. And I've been doing it since a kid. I have been using it to dream big and see where I wanted to go. I had no idea it was going to be a career. I just knew growing up in a very difficult situation that I had to do something drastic. And what I came up with as a little kid is movement, words, and laughter. And every day I would think of a word that I would focus on. And I would tell myself, okay, if I can just visualize that word and what I can do in that moment to feel that, it'll be good even just for now. And then if I can stay in that moment and imagine where I want to go, ooh, it's going to be magical. And I would pick all different words.
Mhm.
It could be, depending on the day and how I felt, it could be calm, it could be ease and flow, joy, peace, power, fun. And it was simple, not time consuming, just one word. And then I would move. And I've been dancing since I was 4 years old. God bless my Uncle Don, paid for my dance lessons. And I would use the movement with the words to get into a whole new world. And when I danced, it just felt so good. Right away, when you move, your mental health, it just has to get better. And then I would use laughter and I would make light of everything. And those three things, as long with a really deep belief that there was something bigger out there looking out for me, really took me far. And I saw how I could use those three things to change the mood of others, even those in the darkest situation, and give them hope, even for just a moment. Spiraling into owning health clubs and writing books and doing podcasts and speaking engagements, it was just beyond my wildest dreams.
What a beautiful opportunity, though. What a beautiful ride.
Yeah. Beautiful ride. And to this day, there's some now, because it's not till recently, not that I was embarrassed about it, I just didn't feel it was the right time to tell my journey, nor most of my friends never really asked. They just assumed, because of who I am, that I came from a wealthy family. They must have been pippy, skippy, and really happy and really solid. Little did they know, I grew up in the projects with a mom who battled a lot of mental health demons. So she spent at least 50% of her life in mental institutions. So it wasn't,
Wow.
it wasn't the life they imagined, but I did create that life for myself.
Mm-hmm. And that's the gift that we have.
Yes.
Living in a world where we have access to so much. But often it's that pivotal piece that I think is maybe that we often skip, overlook, is that drive, that passion, and that focus.
Yeah. It's not complicated and it's not even time consuming. It's just, for me, the most important thing is you deciding there's nothing more important than how you feel. And taking that and then deciding how you're going to show up in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you have to make that decision first. And then once you do, day by day, little by little, making a conscious choice of how you're going to show up in the world, no matter what's going on around you. You're going to still have very trying times in your life. But what we want to do is shorten them.
Right.
So you don't get stuck in there so long.
Yeah. Going back to your exercise of focusing on that one word and embodying it and amplifying it and truly exploring all of it. What nudged you to do that?
I believe I must have had a lot of lives, because I came into this world as little as I can remember, thinking I was going to be okay. And feeling I had 5 angels looking out for me. I said, okay, they're not a lot, but they laugh and they have a good old time. And since I was little, I had that innate belief system. And so I wanted to do anything I could to show others, whatever their belief was, that they could tap into this unconditional love that you cannot even imagine is there for you. I was just telling my girlfriend the other day, we had a trying situation with somebody in business, and they were saying a lot of yucky things. And she's like, oh my God, why aren't you so upset? Why aren't you so sad? I'm like, well, we know they're not true. She's like, yeah, but doesn't it matter? We thought these people are our friends. I go, listen, they're just having a rough time. Their journey is not my journey, and it's best we go on our way. And she's like, oh my God. I go, listen, I'm not saying I want to do business with them again. I get it, right?
Okay.
I'm going to separate. But when you have this feeling that no matter what, somebody has your back, and you are unconditionally loved no matter what you do in the universe, as far as making $1 million, business being successful, podcast working out, kids loving you, that if you're coming from love, all right, let's talk about this. I'm coming from love. I'm coming from love innately, which I feel we're all made up of love, peace, and joy, then I can go to that feeling whenever I want, and so can everybody else. That doesn't mean it doesn't bother me when people do things or say things that are hurtful, but not so long, because I'm coming back to that feeling that's inside every one of us that you can tap into. So I don't stay there so long, and I don't feel like I want to hurt them or get back at them or whatever. Maybe a little, but then I move forward. Okay, we're good.
That's right. That's right. There's other things to do with time and energy.
Yeah.
Focus on that. Absolutely. What do you feel is your calling?
I feel my calling really is, my mission is to spread joy and to help people see. I get so emotional when I see this, because I just feel it with every ounce of my being. To help and guide others to see how their birthright is to be happy, and that they are worthy of having a truly blessed life. And any time that I can help open that up to anyone, it's magical. Now, the sticky wicket, I call, for me, or the tough part, is you can't reach everyone. If you're not in that place of self-acceptance to some extent, and you are feeling like a victim in life, you can't get there. I was just talking to a young lady a few months ago, and she so much blamed, this, that person, the family, this, that, everyone, for her life. And I'm not saying she didn't have some tough things.
Sure.
But when you're in that mode and not taking responsibility for your life, even though you've had those trials and tribulations, it's okay. That's fine. I'm not here to tell you shouldn't, but you can't make the shift. You can't take the next journey of all you could have in your life. So when I talk about my mission, it's like, I want to give that to everyone, but I have to be okay that not everybody's there yet. You know what I mean? They're not, and I always say, I only want to talk to those people who really want to listen to me. And it's okay if you don't. And I think the toughest thing for us all is, well, I'm sure, I don't know, I'm sure everyone feels this way, is when you're doing great things in the world, right? And you're making an impact and you feel like you're touching so many lives. I was just talking to this guy the other day, and you can't help some people that you love desperately, like your mom, your dad, a child, a nephew, a brother. I think that's the toughest part, because you're like, this man lost all this weight, right? He lost over 100 pounds, and he's just taking on the world with his business and helping people realize it's more than just the nutrition plan. And it's how do you value yourself, and do you love yourself? And he's doing great things. But his mom is so overweight and obese, and she listens to all shows, and he can't help her. And he said, I think I keep doing this and I'm driven more because of my mom.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that, because I've had some family members, I think that's what drove me to even more want to do it. But there's some that, I mean, maybe I did help to a certain extent, but not as much as I would like to, and now and then, I know it's not logical, but now and then I feel like, gosh, I wish I could do more. I should have done more, or feel guilty. And then I have to release myself of that.
Yeah.
Because you can only do so much, and it's their journey, but it's really, that's a long answer to my journey. But I was thinking about it just brought up to me, because it's true for everyone. You know, when you are wanting to make a positive, powerful difference in the world, a lot of us get sucked into, I wish I could have said that. I wish I could have done that. I wish I could have helped this person. And usually it's somebody that's close to us, that's driving us, that we can't reach.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is tough. We want to save the world.
Yeah.
Right? But in the same token, we can only help those who want to be helped.
Yeah. And you can only shine your light where it wants to, you shine your light. If they come, they come. And we really aren't responsible for saving the world. I feel I have to check myself on that and said the most important thing I can do is show up every day from peace, love, and joy the best way I can.
Yep.
And then what impact I make is the impact I make.
Yeah. Because
it's a lot better.
Absolutely. It takes the load off. It takes the pressure off, because just you being with that intention in itself is energetically transmuting and vibrating out that energy, even though you might not have had a testimonial or had the conversation with somebody, other people will feel it. And I think that's the tough part, because as human beings, we kind of sometimes want a bit of validation. That, oh yeah, what you said makes sense. Oh yeah,
yes, of course,
that worked really well, and thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
So there's that component, but if we truly lead with that intention of, here, I'm showing up for me today, so I'm trusting that's going to ripple out for everybody else. And it sounds like that's exactly what you've done with the fitness industry, your mindset perspective, especially for yourself as a small child.
Yeah.
So important. So important.
That's why my books are Train Your Head and Your Body Will Follow.
Nice.
You're all connected. They're not separate.
Yes, absolutely. What do you feel are some of the biggest attributes that connect you to your purpose as you've grown and evolved over the years through the transitions of your businesses? What are they for you?
I think one of my biggest gifts is I truly listen to people. I love people. I just love them. I find them fascinating.
Nice.
And I find their lives fascinating. And I find their journeys fascinating. And even if they don't have the same perspective as me, I want to learn why they have that perspective. Now, keep in mind, I do tune them out if it starts coming from hate. But just listening to why they got to where they are, I think that's what's going to help break the barrier with us. And I'm sure I have to check myself just like everyone else. But I really try to clear my mind, even if I'm talking to somebody who's checking me out, at Whole Foods, that I don't hold judgment, that I'm just listening to them and trying to embrace it with as much compassion and kindness as I can. Yes. And I really think that's my biggest gift.
Beautiful.
And just, every day wanting to become better at that, more compassionate, more understanding, listening more. Even though I could talk forever and I do keynote presentations and I love entertaining people and I can light up the stage, I think afterwards is when I come off the stage and I listen to people's stories, that's the true gift. Because that's when it's magical, when they tell me their story and how I resonated with them.
Then it becomes a real exchange, because when you are on a stage, you're giving.
Correct.
Right? But in any relationship that is deeming to be fruitful, there has to be an exchange that happens, just like in our conversation today. There's a give and there's a take. There's an exchange that's happening. And often when people are on stages or in a position where all the focus and attention is there, it's often seen as there is no exchange, but the gifts are when people are able to share and for you to witness that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just as they did when you was on stage. So what a beautiful example. I love that.
It was funny because for some years here, we haven't been able to perform and everything was virtual. And it's just not the same when you're doing the keynote speaking engagement as being able to see the reactions of the people and then talk to them afterwards.
Yes.
And so it was like maybe, I don't know now, 6 months, 8 months that I was able to start getting back out there. Oh my God, It was so fun. It was so fun. Like humans, yeah. It was awesome.
It's important. I mean, the energy, we talk about the energy of you showing up for you and people feeling that in real time of how we're really designed to do. Like I can still feel your energy through this screen, but it's different when we're sitting at the coffee table and having a cup of coffee together.
Absolutely.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But it is a true gift as humans. And I think that's what we really need to embody and hold on to, which I think is so powerful. So I know you reference how important journaling is for individuals. How did this, I want to say, epiphany arise for you to share that with others?
So that's a fun story. So when I was little, I always would write down either thoughts I had to get out, and I would call it my brain drain and then put a big X in it, or where I wanted to go, my hopes and my dreams. So I had been doing that since a kid, calling it either scribble scrabble or brain drain. And journals everywhere, crazy stuff. And then as I got older and I was owning health clubs, I was really fascinated by people that I believed exuded pure joy. Didn't matter what they did in life, whether they were CEOs, CFOs, moms, dads, pro athletes, those that I thought overall, you just wanted to be around them. There was something coming from within. So I decided I was going to do a study for a year.
Okay.
And I bribed them. I told them, all right, I'll train you for free, or I'll give you a membership to the club if I can spend a few hours with you now and then throughout this year. And just ask you a few questions just about who you are. I feel like you're such a bright light. And after a year, I really didn't see it. But then one of my colleagues was looking at it and she said, Sandy, oh my gosh, look at it, look at it, look at it. See the common thread. And the secret sauce was that every single one of these individuals, besides feeling they deserved or worthy of being happy in life. So we talked about that at the beginning. You have to have that innate feeling you deserve to be happy. And that's a whole long, deep journey.
Yeah.
But every single one of them did something in the morning before they went out into the world to get their head in the right space, that positive, powerful space. And not all, it's not like, okay, all these people were spiritual. Right. They were people, some of them, played jazz music, made muffins, walked the dog. There were those who journaled and meditated and exercised, wrote lists. Everybody did something different. And some of it was for a few minutes and some of it was for 2 hours. So when it came time that everyone was pushing me to write some kind of book or guidebook and journal, I said, I know what I want to do. I'm not a writer, but I want to write a book about my mentors, my little lessons, all about the importance of getting people to journal, because these journals are going to be a guide for them to get into that headspace. So those people who weren't automatically doing that in the morning, which are most people, they just go into the world and see what life throws at them. I wanted something to remind them of how they wanted to show up in the world and what they wanted. So I actually then met for another year with people that I called the powers to be. And they were from all walks of life. And I was fortunate enough to gather them at one of my health clubs downtown in Philly, because I had a big office, and it was right near a lot of universities. So we had positive psychologists, exercise physiologists, neuroscientists, gurus, spiritual leaders. And we came up with a guide to get them in that headset and a game plan that would take them 5 minutes a day. Mm. And so then I set it out to another 100 people who I thought were highly motivated.
Yep.
And said, I want you to take 5 minutes a day, feel the and I want you to pick the one area of your life that you feel is your sticky wicket that you need to up level. That's not going well for you. So there was 3 levels. One was body health. And if you had that going on, don't pick that. The other one was money, financial.
Yep.
The other one was love relationships. So I wanted them to pick the one area that they felt was not going well for them, or they wanted to up level. And after a year, only one person did it. It fell flat on its face. Hmm. And so then I go back to my powers to be, and my one guy, Dr. Kendrick from Temple University, and he says to me, well, of course they're not going to do it. I go, what? He goes, no one's going to spend 5 minutes a day to improve their life on a belief system they don't already have. If they don't believe this is going to work, they're not going to spend 5 minutes. I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me? And he's like, you had to figure it out on your own. We wanted you to see. I'm like, okay. So then we made it 1 to 3 minutes a day. And it was a success. Wow. So it's not that longer doesn't work. It's that until you believe and see it, even for 30 days, you're not going to do something unless you've decided you already believe it. But 1 to 3 minutes you'll do. So that's what it is. And it's just for you to lock into your goals, your actions, your power statement, your word, so that you can reflect on it throughout the day. Mm-hmm. That before you get out of bed in the morning, that you're deciding how you want to show up and just picking one word. And they've done study after study to show you're 40% more likely to reach your goals if you write it down. Mm-hmm. That's right. So this game plan, the journals I created, wasn't that you couldn't journal more and there wasn't longer meditations or you're not going to exercise longer. It's getting into this positive headspace and then taking action, because it's going to be a totally different action than what you would do.
Yes.
Not in that headspace. And that's
beautiful story. That's a beautiful story. And it's a really clear example of, as much as you wanting to learn from others, regardless of what credentials and labels and hierarchy systems that they come from, ultimately it was a lesson, I think, also for yourself of going, it's actually more about mindset and the intention behind what do I really see 5 minutes as a long period of time, or is 1 to 3 minutes more doable? So I think there's lots of nuggets in there that you threw in there that I'd love to expand on, but I have some other juicy questions that I want to ask you.
Okay.
What do you believe about yourself, and do you feel it defines who you are?
That's a good one. What do I believe about myself? I really do believe that I am love, joy, and peace. And I feel as if I know that every single day, as much as possible, I try to show up with that for myself and others. I really do. And it defines me because in everything I do, and there are many things I do that aren't coming from peace, love, and joy. You can ask my family. My son will be like, Mom, I don't think that's joy right now. Are you sure that's what the word you chose to show up? Because that looks very angry. And I want to make this very clear. I believe we are human and that all emotions are to be had. Like I said,
yes.
I just don't want to be in the fear-based emotions that long. And I want to be more aware when I am there,
Mhm.
like I said to him, yes, I know I'm not there and I'm staying there. Like, like, I'm good for now. But the difference is I'm aware. And even in that moment, if I don't self-correct, I will go back. And the biggest thing is, I think the biggest thing is I'm really okay being wrong. I'm really okay making mistakes. I'm not loving it, but I get that in life and professionally, failure is part of it.
Mhm.
And I more feel that I failed if I didn't try. So for me, if I went out and I didn't succeed or didn't get that job, I know some people like, oh God, I just don't want to hear no, right? They'd rather not hear no, or if they don't put the book out. And not that I don't get heebie-jeebies now and then, but I am okay that that happened because that's part of me hearing yes.
Mhm.
So I feel even more than my gift to come from peace, love, and joy. I say, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. That wasn't right for me to say. I wish I would have said that differently. And I'm okay making mistakes and being like, ooh, that didn't work out well.
Yeah.
And I
And
think
the
it's hard for a lot of people. Yeah.
absolutely. The humility.
Yeah.
The humility.
But when you realize that it's impossible to be perfect, it really is. And that everybody makes mistakes, it's just so freeing. Like, don't put that big pressure on yourself. Like, no matter, especially I think people that we were talking about who want to make a positive difference in the world, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves sometimes that we should know better. I've studied this, I've read that, I know that's wrong. Yeah, innately, but you're still a human being with emotions.
Right.
And I think that's a tough thing, especially when you want to give to others and do the right. We're even tougher on ourselves, and our expectations seem so much higher, but we're just like everyone else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you touched on a topic there, which I think really encompasses everything that you do. Emotions. So the motion component to your fitness industry,
Yeah.
along with the mental, the feeling, the doing, the mental space, and that feeling of the emotion, and moving it through your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think is so crucial, and
listen,
possibly the entire premise of your career and your successes. But
Yeah.
I just had to bring those together.
No, you're right. I do. I call it dance resets. I do 1 minute dance resets. And even in that minute, in between podcast interviews, talking engagements, makes a huge difference. Just dancing around to your favorite song, music. If you even did that, forget 20 or 30 minutes. See how your mind shift changes. If you're really upset, frustrated, anger, before you send, I tell people, before you send that email, what outcome do you want? That text. Forget you're mad or angry or frustrated. Is that going to give you the outcome you want? So just as much as you think you're in a hurry, you have to get it out. Take a step back. Move around. Even if you don't want to dance around. Some guy was like, Sandy, I'm not going to dance. Well, you're in your house alone, but take a deep breath. Go out on the porch. Do whatever.
Yeah.
Huge difference. Even just taking a deep breath in for a minute.
That's right. The other thing I think is also possibly doable, because there might be individuals who are watching this who are sitting at their desk and not maybe appropriate to get up and do a little jig.
That's true.
Put on your headset and put on a tune that you would dance to, because even though it's playing in your mind and between your ears,
Yes, that's a
Your
good idea.
internal body is moving, even though your, your shoulders might do a little jig and,
Yeah,
but you won't be doing a full-on body movement dance. So
that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I haven't said that to people. I always say, well, just take some deep breaths or walk to the bathroom. But I like that.
Yeah.
Put the music on your headset. You can bob as you go to the ladies' room.
That's right. Because it's going to get you going. You know it's going to activate something within you. And that's the intention, right?
Yep, that's the intention.
So what is your intentions? Other than what we've kind of discussed and talked about, what's your intentions with where you want to be next?
Ooh, that's a good one. I know what I want to do. I just finished a course called Heroic Public Speaking. And I did it when we couldn't get out there as much speaking.
Nice.
It's a 7-month course that's phenomenal. They bring people, like 40, 50 people in a session who want to up their keynote speaking game.
Yeah.
And it was in person right near me in New Jersey and online. Way more difficult challenging than I thought. I learned so much. I didn't know how much I didn't know, but it's so fun. I'm actually filming in a little bit my video, your sizzle reel that you do, like your 2 to 4. And my goal is to reach as many people as possible around the world with my keynote, which is my big idea. Life doesn't happen to you. You happen to life.
Nice.
And it's for the first time ever in my 60-minute gig that, I take them on a journey of highs and lows and laughter. But mostly for the first time, am sharing bits and pieces of my story from growing up that I've never told. So it took me a long time to be even able to get up on stage and tell them from a place of power.
Yes.
And laughter at times. Before that, I had done a lot of speaking engagements around the world, but they were more just, I'm brought in as the keynote for the rah-rah, bring people together. Not that that's not good, and get everybody moving and dance. And I'm not saying I didn't make an impact, because I did. But I can tell you this, even from the 8 gigs I've done recently that weren't even 60 minutes, they were 30 and 40 minutes. I could see the huge difference that I had when I came off the stage from even just the little bits I told about my own life, of people willing to share theirs. And that's what I want to do.
I love that. And I can see the shift in you because we're on video. And I think that confidence and that vulnerability in yourself, but coming from a place of strength, will have a ripple effect to the audience who witness it. So very courageous of you.
Yeah, I'm excited. I really am excited.
Yeah, beautiful. I am excited for you, actually. I think it's going to be really important for you to reach many individuals on their journey of, they want more. They want what they want their life to look like.
Yeah. And that was why it was so challenging. I used to work on at least 20 hours a week. And so I wasn't able to work as much on other things. And my husband was so supportive because I wasn't working as much, and it was even telling those stories to myself and writing them down. It was for the first time ever. And I was like, ooh, I don't think I can do that one. Okay. So they said, you don't pick them all, but you just pick those that you're ready to share. Yes. And then my dog listened a lot, then my cats, and then I went to humans, and finally it's like, okay, now, look, we were talking about even circa around the beginning. When you are telling stories of something that's not fun from your past, I believe it's because they're empowering you and others. You really want to make sure you're not telling the story over and over again to yourself and others and playing, you may not even know it, in that victim mode and then to get people to feel sorry for you.
Right.
And that's tricky. And that's why for years, I didn't know how to do that. And I didn't want people going, oh, poor Cindy. I wanted to make sure that when they heard the story, they're like, she's great. She's great. Because even for my own self, the stories you tell reflect your life.
Absolutely.
And I get it. I get why they may not even know they're doing it, but I listen to people tell the stories, even on the news or keynotes. And I'm like, oof, they're still there and they're reliving it. And that's not good. Forget the audience. It's really not good for them. So that's why it took me so long to work it out. And then some stories they may never tell, and some stories I'm just not telling right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's going through your own wounded process and healing from that. But you're very right in the power of those words are our wants.
I know. And I get into conversations with people that you should have shared earlier. I go, and you could have made a bigger impact. It wasn't right for me. You don't let anybody convince you. It was not right. I couldn't figure out. I didn't even remember some of those stories. They were so suppressed because some of them were so painful. And so it wasn't till I was really feeling safe in this, oh my God, it came over me, this feeling of this pure joy that I could tap into no matter what was going on beyond what I ever felt.
Yeah.
And then I knew I was ready.
Yeah.
Oof, give me chills thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's why I have to do this. Cause I'm like, no, you have this. Everybody can tap into it. Like, I know life might suck out there, but you can't wait for the world to heal,
One soul at a time. One soul at a time, right?
And you got to start with yours. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I love this joy and this element of peace and contentment and love that you bring to this conversation, not only from the stories that you've shared and you've witnessed, but your own growth.
Yeah. Oh,
so thank you so much.
Still going.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to learn when you do go on stage, because I'd love to see how that evolution is going for you. So thank you so much, Sandy, for sharing your stories. Thank you.
Thank you. It really was a joy. It really was.
I'm Naranjan, and you've been listening to Master of Your Crafts podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review, and join me next week for another episode. Thank you for listening.